Tortall Sisters, a book club podcast about the books by Tamara Pierce.
Yeah.
I'm Marisa.
I'm Ariana.
And that's our intro.
Oh my god, we're so good at this.
I know, we're fantastic. We're professional podcasters.
We are.
You know, we have 8 patrons, so...
We are so fucking good. Like, look at us go.
So, yeah, this is... What book are we reading, sister? Or have we read?
This month, we finished the Song of the Lioness Quartet with Lioness Rampant. By far, her best book at this point.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's the best one in the series. It is... I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. I'll give you that. But on Goodreads, if you guys want to follow me, I don't know how to tell you to find me there. I'm just Risa, so I don't know. But I fucking reviewed it as...
Fuck you, Tammy.
Fuck you, Tammy. That was it. 5 stars. Fuck you, Tammy.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just going to start referring to her as Tammy on the podcast just because I hate mispronouncing her name and it just comes out so readily that I'm just going to start calling her Tammy.
She's just our girl Tammy.
Our girl Tammy. Tammy
Exactly.
P. Just walk up to her at a book signing. Hey, Tammy P, what up? She would be like,
please don't.
No, thank you.
So,
and,
yeah,
sorry, really quickly, remind me when we're done that I want to read some of the, or when we're done with the synopsis, that I want to read some of the afterword in my copy of the book.
Okay. That sounds good.
Good.
So, yeah, we concluded our Song of the Lioness Quartet, our last book with Alana as the main character. She deserves the rest. And by far the best book in the quartet. It's like, you couldn't get worse than The Woman Who Rides Like a Man. So, like, it didn't have to go as hard as it went.
It didn't. But she did it for us.
Yeah.
Well, she did it for Alana, and I'll get to that.
Yeah. So, I have written a synopsis.
Is it a completed synopsis, sister?
I have written half of a synopsis. However, I did not start reading the book until yesterday.
Same.
Because every time I thought about starting to read it, I got anxious.
Yeah.
Because I already have 2 open books on my bedside table. And so I was feeling overwhelmed. But so I started it yesterday. I finished it at like 5 p.m. And
thank goodness.
Just sobbing really just, it takes it out of me. So I got halfway through the book writing the synopsis, and then it was like 7:30 and I was like, no, I can't do any more of this. Otherwise I won't be able to speak on the podcast.
I finished reading at 5:30 today.
Yeah, that's half an hour before the podcast for you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was in a lot of pain. I meant to be doing my reading earlier, but, So let's...
Yeah, no, I get that. So, is there anything we want to say about the book before we go into the synopsis? Other than that it was better than all of the others.
Right? I don't know what we'd say about it before synopsisizing it, so...
Not really much to say about it before we just hop into it.
Yeah, so let's just go.
I also will just warn you that my synopsis got snarky quite quickly. So, we start with Alana of Trebond and Olau entering the Maronite city of Barat with her man-at-arms Coram Smithison, in case you forgot who these people were. Which, to be fair, you might have.
Yeah, I do have to appreciate that she does a rundown of our company, like, every single book.
I'm you know what? I'm fine with that.
I love it. I'm great with it.
Alana and Coram are in Barat looking for a friend of Sir Miles, her adopted father, to help her with a translation of a map. She had been given the map by a dying sorceress to deliver it back to her friend Halsif, but Sif doesn't want the map, saying it was her destiny to follow it.
It's like, I mean...
I don't want this.
Your shaman friend, like, she said to give it to you.
He's like, nah.
Nah, bruh. You go freeze your ass off. Oh, right, yes. But that's the thing we saw handed off at the end of the previous book. So,
yes.
Closure very quickly into the book.
Exactly.
In Barrett, Alana meets Liam Ironarm, the Shang dragon, albeit he is described like an Irishman, but he's a Shang warrior. I gave him an Irish accent the entire book, just so we're clear. The Shang...
valid.
The Shang are an order of unnamed warriors trained from early child.
Unarmed.
They're very named warriors, in fact.
They have lots of names.
They are unarmed warriors trained from early childhood. Liam and Alana both catch each other's eyes and are immediately attracted to one another, despite him being literally 14 years older than her, but whatever. She likes them older. She always has. As the dragon, that means he's one of, if not the highest ranked Shang warriors.
Like, ranked, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Most, well, I mean, they're pretty ranked. I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. It's like, to me, the Shang feel like, it's obviously supposed to be like, you know, Asian martial arts kind of a thing. And it's just like, okay, sure. Alana has a brief visit from the goddess. She just takes her horse out one night because she couldn't sleep. And then the goddess is like, hey, where the fuck you going? I mean, it's like, goddess, you obviously just drew her out here to talk to you.
Right.
Otherwise, she wouldn't have done this.
Don't play coy, bitch.
Yeah. But she's like, what are you doing? The goddess tells her that if she follows the map, her life will be very interesting. Faithful, Alana's magic cat, has an in-depth conversation with the goddess that Alana can't understand, which is very rude of him. She then promptly falls asleep in the saddle and falls off her horse and is brought back into town by Liam, much to her chagrin.
Alana is then finally able to go see the scholar friend of her father's, who is able to immediately say that not only is the writing on the map in the Old One's language, but that he can just translate it immediately. It's so convenient to be Alana. He tells her that the map is one that will take her to the Dominion Jewel. God, that was weird. I don't know why that happened.
I just refer to it as
DJ.
The jewel for most of the rest of it. Just the jewel.
Good. Excellent.
Because I fucking cannot say
Dominion Jewel. That's
Dominion.
Dominion Jewel. And a legendary jewel that supposedly can be used to do great things for countries. The map leads to the roof of the world, which sucks because Alana hates the cold. But she's like, nah, I can't give up this chance, so let's go.
Yeah. Upon leaving the scholar's house, Alana and Coram are attacked by people claiming to be sent by Claw, the dude who's trying to unseat George Cooper from the throne of the Rogue. Alana and Coram give it their all.
I need to remind everyone, this is the person that George was like, something ain't right here. He sounds like a noble. And Miles was like, you right. He does sound like a noble. And so they're both watching him. But Alana's never been in the same room as him, and we know why.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because she is Claw.
I knew it. You've never seen them both in the same room. Mm-hmm. Alana and Coram give it their all, but thankfully Liam appears and saves their lives by just being too good.
He's just too good.
It's like, oh no, I'm going to die now. Oh, thank goodness, this man appeared. But Liam then helps nurse them both back to health after their injuries, and Alana and Liam get even flirtier.
Yeah, which disgusts Coram, let me just say.
Yeah.
It's like, motherfucker, can you wait until I am out of the room before you start undressing my daughter with your eyes? Liam tells Alana that Coram told him about the map, and how he knows he knows the best way to get there. She decides to take the hardest possible way through the country Serene that's currently in the middle of a civil war. Because Alana has a real good head on her shoulders, let me just say. Alana, of course, wants to go straight through because it's the most direct way and she thinks it will be more interesting. Liam says he'll ride with them as far as the border. We'll go, okay, buddy.
Sure.
In the meantime, he tells her she's too old to learn Shang fighting like she wants him to show her. His mind seems to change a little after she bests him in a sword fight after her injuries healed.
Very important.
Very important part.
They set off for Serene, and Liam starts teaching Alana a few Shang moves and some Dawn training, which becomes a routine for them. He then reveals that he doesn't like magic, but will make an exception for Alana, his kitten. I hate that.
Yeah.
It's not cute.
No.
He tells her that no Shang warriors have the gift. They aren't allowed to. That makes it, how I put it, makes it sound like, no, you're not allowed to have the gift. But no, they don't allow people with the gift into Shang. Because it takes too much effort. Like, it would take away from your Shang trainings, having to learn to control your gift. And he's like, they aren't allowed to, and people who use magic in battle are cheating. After she yells at him for being a dick, he kind of apologizes, but he never really apologizes this entire book.
No.
He's kind of a dick. And he says it's because he's afraid of magic. They talk it out, and then they become fuck buddies, because why not? Poor Coram having to deal with this shit.
God damn it. When they arrive at the border between Marin and Serene, Marin?
I always say Marin.
Yeah, I was realizing as I said it, I was like, that's not right. I've always said it Marin. Marin and Serene, they're met with seeing a bunch of refugees from Serene. Alana tells Liam that the map is to the Dominion Jewel, and he says he will go with them through Serene as well.
Because, like, buddy, you were never...
It's like, oh, because we thought you weren't going to go?
Yeah. I want you to understand, the sentences just become more run-on than from here on out. It just gets worse.
I mean,
The book is
everything's like, it's an avalanche.
It truly is. So much of this book is like, it just like one thing leads to another, and then it's a train and you can't stop it. And that's why it's like an entire run-on sentence of just a book.
Yes.
The book is one sentence.
It really is.
When they enter Serene, they immediately see the devastation brought by a civil war. Farms burned, bodies upon bodies piled up, lowlanders and Khmer warriors not separated or buried. Alana sets a pyre with her gift to burn the bodies, upsetting Liam, but like, whatever, dude. Like, not long after, a group of women and children get the drop on them. It ends up being a group of people that includes the Princess Thayet. That's how I've always said it. Is that what we're going with?
Yeah. Excuse you?
The Thunder has something to say.
Thunder's like, let me tell you about Thayet. She is fucking hot. And, like...
Pretty much everyone immediately is like, she's the most beautiful person like, on this earth.
Right down to Alana, who does not think much of women.
Princess Thayet, her bodyguard Buriram
is how I was saying. Buriram is how I figure. Because I hear then buri in my head instead of bury.
Yeah. And a bunch of children, including an orphaned infant, all trying to head to the goddess's temple for asylum. Alana and co. decide to escort the group to their destination. Along the way, Thayet and Buri discuss what is going on. Thayet's dad is the lowlander warlord who is basically committing genocide against the Khmer people, even though Thayet's mom was Khmer. Thayet's mom killed herself in protest of her husband's deeds, and Buri's mom and brother, both also Khmeri, died protecting her while she did it. Buri's family has been protecting Thayet's for centuries, so she has decided it's her job to protect Thayet, despite being like 17 herself.
Yeah.
She is described as being a teenage girl.
Right.
Like...
I do like when, she's acting like, oh no, I'll fucking take them all, and Faithful just looks at Alana and is like, she sounds like you at that age. She's like, shut up.
Bitch, I did not ask for your opinion.
After stealing a bunch of shit from bandits along the way, they finally arrive in Rashia? Whatever. City where the goddess's temple is. Upon entering the city, they are met with assassins trying to kill Thayet. Liam, Alana, and Buri protect her, but the assassin kills himself. Fucking flings himself off a goddamn building before they can find out who hired him. They all reconvene at the convent where they are leaving the group out in the open and not letting them...
They being the priestesses.
Yes.
Sorry, that's not very clear.
The open, not letting them in until Alana uses her position to get them all inside. The two head priestesses, the first daughter and the hag daughter, basically, I did love that, like, convention of the first daughter and the hag daughter. I was like...
Which I think is cool.
I love it.
But it becomes, like... They use different words for it later in the series because the graveyard hag is a separate goddess.
Yeah.
But then they do always talk about the mother, the goddess and her three beings of as mother, as queen of the underworld, and as I don't remember the last one. We'll get there in the Immortals. So.
Right? We'll get there. We're good. Basically, the two head priestesses basically tell them that Thayet's dad is dead, so Thayet has a price on her head. They say that they'll take the children, but Buri and Thayet must leave ASAP for their own safety.
The group is allowed to stay the night, but are quickly disguised and gotten out the next morning. Thayet and Buri agree to go with them to the roof of the world, and then to Tortall with them after, desperate to get away from Serain. So they set off on their journey to the mountains, specifically Chitral's Pass. Alana decides that when they get back to Tortall, she's going to introduce Thayet to John, because she has a feeling that they'd hit it off.
Two hot people? I mean, what could go wrong here?
What else is there?
I have to tell you, Thayet appeared in the book, and I went, oh, that's right, this is... because I forget that this is how she's introduced. In the mount... Wait.
I just want to...
What?
Give me a second. But I have always seen... The way they describe Thayet, I have always seen her as very, like, classically Chinese looking. And... I don't know if that's what she's supposed to look like, but the way that they describe her with the, like, porcelain skin, the ivory skin specifically, and her, like, the pitch black hair and her very red lips, and, like, the way her nose arches.
Well, but she gets her nose arched from her... Oh, wait.
Dad.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
her
the
dad's
Never
the
mind,
Lowlander.
sorry.
And I always have seen, like, Buri as being, like, Mongolian then looking.
Basically because all she's really described as is, like, dark and fierce. I'll be honest, I made her into a goddamn one of the warriors from Black Panther, which I could name, but you don't.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, so just that badass warrior type. But anyway,
but yeah. In the mountains.
In the mountains. And out of Serain, Alana starts feeling that she needs to get back to Tortall ASAP, but that means she has to get the jewel fast. They arrive at the pass in early May, and the weather turns terrible. The locals say that the pass won't be navigable? Navigable until Beltane at the earliest.
They prepare to stay a while at the inn at the base of the mountains. Alana tries putting on a dress, and for some reason that upsets Liam. Liam is transphobic, / non-binary phobic, is all I can get from this. Because he's, like, mad that she doesn't fit in the boxes he wants to put her in. And then he avoids apologizing, but it's okay, because they're still fuck buddies, I guess.
You know, apparently the sex is just too good to quit cold turkey. So they have to, like, slowly break up. That's all I can get from it.
It's just like, what? Why? Like, he literally never apologizes. I remember him as so different when I was a kid.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I thought he was fantastic. As an adult, I'm like, Jesus,
he's just a fucking asshole.
For a 34-year-old man. No. Sir.
You're acting like a goddamn 15-year-old boy. Calm down.
Exactly. Oh, she literally does later in the book say, like, I didn't think that Shang warriors went so low as to sulk.
Yeah. A few days later, a group of Doi, Doi, the people native to the region, stop at the inn and are interested in the group. Their fortune teller offers to read their palms, except Liam's, as he knows his fate already. For Thayet, she says that she will never return to Serain. We don't know what she says to Buri or Kororim, but I do have to note that he's very happy and smiley about it. And my thought was, 7 kids with Rispa? Is that what he's being told?
It's not even 7, isn't it? Like 9?
Is it 9? I thought it was. I was like 7. That sounds right. God damn.
I think it's literally 9 children. Like, give her a break, please.
But for Alana, she is filled with a different voice, a powerful voice, to give her the message that basically says that the storm will never let up. Old Chitral will throw more storms at her unless she proves she's worthy of his prize.
The next day, Alana had a dream where I think it might be literally that night. It was very hazy about how long it took.
I think it said that she thought about it for a few days, and so it's like day 3. In the morning, she wakes up and she's like, before dawn, she wakes up and she's like,
yeah. Alana has a dream where Roger of Conte, who she killed like a year and a half ago, was alive and with Jonathan, looking at Jonathan's dead mother. She wakes up and decides to go for it and sneak out while everyone's asleep, to go up the mountain during the blizzard on her own. Faithful stays to keep Liam asleep, and she sets off in as many layers as she can manage and snowshoes. She uses her gift to keep herself warm, which is an idiot move because she very quickly starts running out of it.
Like, come on, Alana. What were you just teaching those kids in the previous book? Use your power correctly. I also have to note that Faithful, decides to not really... He's like, nah, I'm not going to play it subtle with my magic anymore. And he just, coats Liam in a white fog to keep him asleep. I'm just saying. After several hours and several falls, the weather gets a bit better, and Alana is told by a powerful voice to go up a nasty path. And when she arrives at the cave at the end, the voice tells her to prepare for combat. I have to note also, though, that he guides her there with a light, which is very much like a spell you can use in Elder Scrolls, Skyrim. There we go. And I just went, oh my god. This is just, that's ridiculous. Anyway, so he sends her a video game cheat and then tells her to prepare for combat. She strips off her outer layers and does some stretches, and when she's ready, a fucking Yeti comes into the cave. Sorry, a rock ape. She then has a sword fight with the Yeti mountain spirit, because why not? After being mostly beaten up, Alana finally just tells Chitral to keep the damn thing. She doesn't want to kill him for something that isn't even hers to begin with. She's like, this is stupid. How could these people in the stories who've taken this consider themselves to be like these great heroes if all they did was steal and then beat someone up? That's fucking stupid. This makes him laugh, and he gives the jewel to her and pretty much just fades out of the cave.
She's like, peace.
You did good, kid. Later. I'm gonna laugh about this for centuries. She then gives into her injuries, there we go, and passes out right beside the cave, where she is thankfully found by a group of Doi before freezing to death.
She comes to back at the inn, where Liam is pissed because she did something so stupid, and especially because she let Faithful magic him. It's not like she asked Faithful to magic him,
Yeah, but she knew what she was doing. Basically, she drugged him.
Yeah, it's true.
She pulled a real Jonathan there, and questionable motives to means, you know?
Yeah. He moves out of her quarters, so sadly their friends with benefits arrangement is at an end. Alana offers the jewel to Thayet to fix Serain, and she basically says, no, it's not fixable, lol.
Nah, fuck those folk. I'm gonna dip on down to Tortall.
The innkeeper refuses payment because everyone knows what Alana found. Everyone's just like, hooray! You're the thing of legends, and for some reason no one's gonna try and steal it from her.
Right? I was amazed. I was like, and then somebody approaches them on the road, right? They get attacked by bandits, right? No.
It's just fine, you know?
After Alana's injuries have healed a bit, they set back out for Tortall, as Alana's feelings she needs to get back get stronger. They are treated like heroes everywhere they go, much to the disappointment of the party. They finally make it down to a port, and Alana agrees to go on a boat since the quickest way back, despite getting very seasick on boats. Liam, Theod, and Burry all agree to go back to Chorus with her and Coram.
Thankfully, Raoul of Golden Lake, Ariana's friend from her page and squire years, arrives and tells, just very convenient, tells her about everything that's going on in Tortall and says that Jonathan has sent people out to get her home as quickly as possible. He tells her that the queen died of sickness, the king died in a hunting accident not long after, and also her brother Thom had raised Duke Roger from the dead.
No big. NBD. Now we get to see what's going on with our friend. Our friend?
Friends.
I was like, well, hold on. First of all, there are several viewpoints in this goddamn chapter. Also, can I just note, every chapter in this fucking book is like 60 pages long.
Yeah, it sure is.
While Alana is away, the people in the kingdom are saying that Jonathan is cursed and that the country is cursed because Thom brought Roger back to life, and that's why the king and queen died so suddenly. We see John talking to Gary, now acting prime minister, about the rumors and about how his dad's death was suicide, not an accident.
Meanwhile, George is dealing with Claw, who has done the unthinkable and attacked George's mother, someone who's not affiliated with the court of the rogue. George decides he has to protect his mother the best way he can, and asks Sir Miles to take her into his home for safety, to which Miles agrees. And then, George goes, "Oh, I see. 2 single people of the same age. I bet they'll like each other." Basically, and they do!
It feels like he and Alana just, like, both go into the same headspace of, damn, I should put these folk together. I'm gonna do it.
I had the idea that it would be good, so let's do it.
Let's make this happen. We then go to Thom and Roger. Thom looks ill, very thin and ragged. It seems Roger's gift did not come back when Thom rose him from the dead, but Jonathan and his advisors continue to ask Thom if there's been any sign it might return. Back in Chorus, George has jumped outside the Dancing Dove, and Miles and his guards save the day. When they find that Claw's people have killed the owner of the Dove and a couple of serving girls before they get George to a healer. Soon after, an informant of Miles comes bearing news of Claw's true identity. Raylon of Malvin.
Rallin of Malvin.
Rallin of Malvin.
A bit later, Jonathan and his court go out into Chorus for the first time since the king died. People in the crowd don't know what to make of him. The rumors are bad, but he seems fine enough. A woman holds her toddler up to see him, but the child wriggles free. What?
I mean, are we not going to talk about who Raylon is in case people have forgotten since the first book?
Oh, I guess. So, Rallin Malvin was the fucking like bully. Squire who Alana bullied out of.
He just kept picking on Alan, and everybody's like, you fucking stop picking on Alan. And then finally, Alana stood her goddamn ground, and, away he went to go be a goddamn rapist, apparently. Sorry, toddler.
But yeah. Toddler wriggles free and runs towards the horse's feet, because that's what toddlers do. Jonathan quickly grabs the child before it can be trampled, and a cheer rises from the crowd. However, as Jonathan returns the child to the thankful mother, an attacker appears and tries to kill John, but is killed by Jonathan's horse, Darkness. But that moment was enough, and the great market riot had started. George was able to lead John's party safely down a back alley, and he is sure that Claw is behind the attack. And that's as far as I got with the,
Yeah, and then my note at that point was like, hold on. Is this America? Because, we get... Wait, how many? What is this? It's, they give us a number. Oh, yeah. The final toll in the Great Market Riot was 15 dead, 36 hurt, including the king-to-be, and untold damages to shops and stalls, which is fucking nuts. So let's continue trying to tell the story. Okay, so, basically, it's harder when it's not written out.
I know.
George realizes that he knows that Claw is the one who instigated the attack on Jonathan, and he is planning to continue to attack Jonathan until he is dead. At which point, as the King of Rogues of the Rogue Court
has an existential crisis.
Yeah, it's a little rough because the thing is, the King of Rogues is not supposed to, rat out his fellow rogues, but it's like Claw is not abiding by
those laws. Yeah.
And so he's like, I guess I have to tell John because I can't have him die. He talks about that.
Alana would be so sad.
Alana would be so sad. And also, they there's a lot of talk about how close they are, and I'm like, they've for sure made out, right?
Yeah. Like, everyone in
George
in these
and
books
Jonathan
is
have
bi.
for sure made out.
Yes, they definitely have. They're all bi.
Yeah, for sure. Then he decides to confront, he's like, okay, I did my thing with John. We don't see it, so I feel like there's definitely some making out going on behind the scenes.
You can't say it's not true.
It's like, hey, George, don't worry, man. Thank you for coming to me. And anyway, I'm done with my fanfic.
He stops in to see how Thom is doing.
And Thom's skin.
And basically, Thom is just like...
He is a ball of fire, basically.
Yeah, he can't use his gift because he can't control it. If he tries to do anything as simple as just lighting candles, he can't control how much power goes into it.
He goes to douse a fire and a fucking part of an ocean pours out into his fucking room.
Chimney.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's just burning hot. He's far too there's something wrong. And George is like, dude, I'm gonna go get your master from the city of the gods. Mm-hmm. Because you need help. And he's like, I don't need help. And it's like, buddy, you really fucking need help.
He's so sad, too. He's like, oh, no, there's no one that'll help me. I made sure of that, didn't I? Basically, he gets, really yeah, I was so far up my own goddamn ass that I have no recourse now because I made everybody hate me, and rightly so.
But then he's also like, they would have hated me anyway. And it's like, buddy.
Yeah. This is where I'm like, he's a baby.
Yeah, George is like, they would have liked you if you'd given them the chance.
Yes. I love how gentle he is with Alana's twin. Yeah. Because that's how he's having to look at Thom right now. It's like, this isn't this asshole magician. This is the other half of the woman that I kind of love.
Yeah. And then basically... George is leaving and Thom is just like, thank you for not saying I told you so, because that's pretty much what everyone else is doing. And so George just literally just goes behind his back and sends for Master Seacham anyway.
Yeah.
Love that.
And then we get some of Roger. Roger is having...
Yeah, already?
Yeah. I just passed fucking my note that says heartbroken over.
So the next thing right after that is that Jonathan brings Roger and the provost into the room to be like, hey, there's shit about to go down. We want you there. And Roger's like, why? They're like, we want you there. And then it's like, they hear on this other side, it's Claw and his conspirators. They're planning to, to kill Jonathan.
And Jonathan is so upset that his favorite court scribe or palace scribe is in there. And it's like, oh, did you think the servants loved you?
I know, right?
It's like, did you think that the nanny your parents paid to watch you just was there because she loved you? Sorry. Real rich kid moment there.
Yeah. And then Roger doesn't react, so he's like, oh, I guess Roger isn't actually behind this. But Claw gets away. And kills
Claw gets away because His Royal Highness Jonathan decides he's had enough of hearing all this shit, because he figures out that one of the women in there knew that they'd be coming too. And so, because Raylon is like, hey, there's no dust on this table. I thought you said this room is never used. And she goes, yeah, I dusted it. And as he's smacking the woman, being like, you stupid woman, because we have to make sure that you know he's a bad guy. Jonathan notices there's no dust behind the wall either. And so he's like, oh, this is a fucking trap. And so he jumps out and doesn't give the Provost's men any time to react, which costs them a couple of their lives.
Claw does that. Claw does that.
No.
Yeah,
Jonathan did it. Jonathan did it.
No. Walking straight back until he was inches away from the spy hole, he drew a finger down the intricate molding of the screen. And you dusted back here, too, he screamed, as the maid...
Whatever.
At the maid, he ran for the door and yanked it open as he drew his sword. The Provost men were outside. So it was Claw.
But hold on. But no, it's that John... hold on.
Claw gets... Yeah, because John is, like, instead of going to do anything or, like, to help or anything, he's just like, so, Roger, does this have anything to do with you? You know anything about this, huh? I had no knowledge of a plot. I'll swear it by any of your gods.
Oh, so you call them my gods. They're not our gods.
I know. It's like, okay, that's weird, dude.
And he's like, yeah, because I could be a fucking god.
Yeah. And then, basically, after that, Claw kills everyone in the Court of the Rogue, other than the people that we know, because she doesn't want to do that much to us. So, like, Urkel
I was sad.
Merrick and Rispa are all okay.
Yeah, but like...
But everyone else is dead. Literally
Lightfinger, Scholar is dead.
It's like, what did Scholar do to you?
And that really breaks poor Miles. He's like, Scholar, no!
So, yeah, everyone's dead. Claw did it. Then that's pretty much it. for that bit.
For that part, yeah. And then Alana arrives, and so it's like, oh, we were just killing time while Alana traveled, because Tammy P was like, we don't need this part.
Next we see into Roger, what's going on with
that's
Roger's,
true. I forgot that
posse.
part. Yes.
Yeah, so, like, Princess Josiane of the Copper Isles, Lady Delia of Eldorn, Alex up his own ass, and Claw, right? Mm-hmm. They're all just talking and being like, we're doing this for Roger. And Roger, like, comes in and is like, fuck you all. You are getting in my way. Stop trying to do things for me. You're bad at it. You're just fucking awful. Just leave me alone. You'll know if I need you to do anything.
Right. I think that my favorite part was, like, Delia immediately, like, drops to her knees and, like, she goes for blowjob before anything else.
She sure does.
I swear to God. Because that's all she's doing. Yes, looking up at him as she's doing. It's like, no, come on, bitch.
It's like, dude. Chill.
And then Alana gets there. And she's greeted by all her peeps. And, let's see. She gets a warm welcome from, like, everybody.
Everyone.
But Alex, who even then, he's like, hey.
He's a dick, so who cares?
How's it going, girl? What's up?
Yeah. And then Alana decides everyone is going to stay at Miles's house because she said so.
And because Miles would be insulted if they did otherwise.
Well, Theat and Buri are like, we're just gonna, like, become citizens here. We're just, we don't want to be people.
And Alana's just like,
and
no,
Liam
you're
is
gonna...
like...
Alana's like, well, okay, you can, because Theat confides in her. She's like, I want to go make a school for the lowborn children because I think that they deserve an education as well. Which, you know, it's like, oh, look at this, the princess of the people. Gosh, I hope that something good happens with her. And and Alana's like, yeah, well, you can do that, and I will take care of you while you do it. She's like, no, my girl. Yeah. You are my wife if you're not Jonathan's.
But, yeah, and Liam and Buri and Theat are like, we'll go find an inn, and George and Alana are like, and Coram are like, no.
You think you get a choice about that?
No, you're coming to you're gonna just live with us.
Right.
Because that's what it is.
So we've got the coronation of Prince John coming up, and his first act 60 days before the coronation, in fact, is to tell Alana, hey, I need you to be my new champion.
Yeah. And everyone else is like...
Before that,
yeah,
though,
you need...
Before that, he and Alana... I'm sorry, I forgot. This is their reunion after the big blowout in the desert. Basically, he comes in and she sees, you know, the last year has taken a lot of it has taken its toll on him. And
you are missing the best part is that she comes outside and it's actually Jonathan is seeing George.
Oh, yeah.
At that time. And they're just having a meeting until Alana's just like...
George goes, oh, hold on one second.
Hold on a minute. Okay, you can come in. But that's the best part because it's like they were having... You know.
They were having their little reunion first.
Yeah, exactly. And then Alana was excited.
Yeah.
I was just like, you're really, you know, you getting there.
And then George is just like, okay, you guys talk. And
I'll be back.
Yeah. I'll be right back. Hold on. I'm gonna go check on my mama. And so basically they hash it out. Where they're like, okay, we can still be friends though, right? Like, this is all good. And it's like, yeah, no, we're cool, man. I promise. And then George comes back and they talk about all being cool. And Jonathan's like, oh yeah, here, you're pardoned. George, for all of your crimes.
That's not that time. No, that's way later, but that's okay. It happens.
Whatever.
This is the time
anyway, this is where I thought they were talking about that before fucking Theat comes in wearing her nightgown and no shoes and very embarrassed to find that this is how she's meeting Prince Jonathan. Although John's not so displeased. And so, of course, you know, he turns on the Jonathan charm and she goes, what's this fuckboy doing here? Because Theat's good people.
She sure is. Then after that, Alana goes to the palace and fucking Duke Roger's up there and she sees him and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to him. And then he's like, oh, you come to just like try and do it again? You're gonna kill me again? And she's like, finally, I don't have to be polite to him. We can just be assholes to each other. This is perfect. And so then they're just like, verbally fighting, and then he leaves, and it's like...
Yeah, I loved that scene. Maybe it's because I've been rewatching Killing Eve, but basically it was a very Villanelle conversation, because it's like, what? Have you killed anyone recently? And she's like, no, I have not, and I'll tell you, it's been really boring. He's just like, what's different about you? And it's like, she's not afraid of you anymore, motherfucker. She found her goddamn voice.
It's so depressing to come back and find one's work reversed, she said. I love that.
Thank you, because I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it. I know I noted it, but there's a lot of notes here. Oh, and by the way, Bajir fucking warriors will not leave her side.
No. She's not even asking them to come with her and guard her. They're just doing it. She's the woman who rides like a man. And
and when she goes to confront Roger, she kind of looks at her lead Bajir guard and is like, do I get to go talk to him alone? And they're like, stay within our sight, bitch.
Pretty much.
We are not going to be the people who were on watch when you decided to be an idiot and die.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't say it that way. They're very respectful, but we're all thinking it.
Then everyone has a go at Alana in the practice yard, sword fighting wise, to make sure she's still up to par.
Not everyone. Alex.
No, I'm exactly.
Oh.
Alex. He goes, no, I want to have a go at you when you're not tired out by everyone else. It's like, okay, way to make it fucking weird, dude.
Right?
Like, way to make it weird. And then, you know what is weird, though? I don't like this. Gary walked her to the stables, an arm around her shoulders. Were the last two even Tortallin? Alana panted, wiping her face. No, the big man was pleased. One was Gallon, and the black was Carthaki.
Yeah.
They're here for the coronation. The black.
I stuttered over that one, too. I went,
no.
Oh.
Tammy, no.
It's like, woof.
But, yeah. Then Alana gets caught up with the Stefan, who's the
stable master.
Dude. Stable master, thank you. I could not think of that word. All I could think of was just stable dude. So, yeah. And then Alana has to get, they're just gonna, like, re-present her as Sir Alana.
The champion of King Jonathan.
Yeah. And then they're going to, like, actually formally present, Fayette to the court. So Alana's like, okay, but I'm not wearing a dress. And they're like, you have to wear a dress. And she's like, no, if I wear a dress, they're going to think I'm just tucking my tail between my legs and crawling back to you, trying to be a woman.
I figured it out. I figured out why I loved Fayette so much this time around. She's a Sami.
Yeah,
So because Alana starts arguing with Mistress Cooper, George's mom, and she's like, no, you have to wear a dress to court. And Alana's like, no, that's not who I am. I'm embracing me. This is me. And I'm going to wear my goddamn hose, and I'm going to dress like a man. And Fayette, who knows that she likes to dress in beautiful things as well, goes, you don't have to do just one. Here, I have already sketched out a goddamn outfit for you. Because I am ride or die, bitch. And I fucking love her.
Yeah. She basically she's just like, hey, how about instead you wear pants.
You wear a pantsuit.
You wear pants and a tunic that, like, is long enough to be it's more dress-like, but it has slits so you can move around. Because I know that you want to feel like you can kill people at a moment's notice. It's just what you do. It's fine. But then they decide to pierce her ears. And she faints.
Which causes them all to laugh because here are all these, like, weak ladies and they're the great Sir Alana, Lioness Rampant. She is, I know the Lioness Rampant is, anyway, it doesn't matter.
I know.
It passes out from the pain of getting her ears pierced. They're like, oh, she is human. And it makes them laugh themselves to pissing.
Yep. Pretty much. And then
we watched everything ramp up until
we're going to bit by bit.
Okay, let's see. Thom's master gets there.
No, wait. At being presented is when she presents the jewel, the Dominion jewel, to Jonathan. So now everyone knows that's what it is. Mm-hmm. It's like, yep, I swear my fealty to you and have brought you the jewel. And then after that, Sai-Cham arrives.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, sorry, would have gotten here sooner. Had to wrap some shit up. Oh shit. Yeah, Thom is dying.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's just like, oh, okay, you're gonna have... And so Alana is brought in to talk her twin into being okay with this. Because he's like, no, don't let him near me. No. And, god damn. And then she's like, no, you're gonna have him help you, because I said so, basically. And
then Jonathan declares her his champion and doesn't give her any say in the matter.
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, no, that's your job. And she's like, no, not me. I don't want to do this shit. And everyone's like, no, you're doing it.
It's not even that she doesn't want to do it. She keeps going right back to the old Allen well of, no, I don't deserve this. Give it to Raoul. He's a great fighter. Raoul's like, nah, I'm good being the captain of the Knight's Own, or the King's Own, rather.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, what about Gary? Gary's like, nah, I love being prime minister. Fuck you.
I don't have to fight anymore.
He's like, do you know how interesting finances are? He suddenly reveals himself to be a giant nerd, and I love it.
I love it.
I get to make spreadsheets all day.
And Miles goes, say thank you, Alana.
Excuse me, daughter. Say thank you. And then they move on.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, and then they're like, okay, let's try to not get you murdered before the coronation.
So the rest of it's a build up to the coronation. But in the midst of that, like not long before the coronation, Alana is summoned to Thom's chambers, where he's instantly complimenting her, and it puts her on edge because she's like, who are you and where's Thom? And then it turns out that, since she's a twin, she's the only one who could be capable of carrying the excess magic that Thom seems to have inside of him. Basically, she's a kidney match. And, but like in a different way. Anyway.
Yeah.
But they've realized that there's some sort of like corrupted magic inside of Thom, which of course we know is because of Roger. It's very obvious from moment one.
Yeah, especially since it's like, and his magic is now this rusty
red.
blood-colored magic instead of amethyst, like it always has been.
Yeah. So Alana takes on some of his magic, and they have the poisoned magic siphoned off, or not siphoned off, quarantined. Yeah, sectioned off, that's it. So that she's just holding it, and, it's cool.
Yeah,
and
it's fine.
So that way Thom can heal.
Yeah. And then Jonathan pardons George and gives him some titles.
Yes.
A title. He's like, you're going to be Baron of Pirate Swoop.
Yeah. You're, I'm going to still need you to travel. So don't worry. Yeah. I'm not tying you down anywhere. I need you to be my eyes and ears everywhere. I do like that he finally comes to that realization that he's like, George, Alana, I'm going to need you guys to be my eyes out there. I don't get to leave the capital.
Palace.
I don't get to leave the capital anymore unless it's for, urgent needs or, like missions and shit. And by which I mean like diplomatic missions, not not that I think he's going to go to war because although
and then Jonathan asks Alana if she would, like, I asked to marry you before. Do you want to take me up on it? And she's like, no. And he's like, oh, thank God, because I'm thinking about Thayette. That's not how it goes.
That's not how it goes.
it goes, but he is, like, relieved about it. But also, he's like, are you sure? Are you really, really sure? Like, are you triple sure?
And then even afterwards, he asks her a bunch more times first. And then she finds a sketch he did. He started to do with Thayette. She's like, oh, you were going to marry me? Oh, yeah, I can tell you're really hung up on me. Oh, this is a lot better than the last one you drew.
Yeah, the one you drew of Delia made her look like a cow.
But then maybe it was your subject matter.
Do ho ho ho. And then
comes the coronation, really.
Yeah.
And
well,
we get to the day of the coronation, rather.
Yes.
Suddenly there's an earthquake, followed by another earthquake.
Yeah. during the coronation, right? Before the coronation, we get this, like, weird scene of all of, Delia and all of them, right? And they're all, like, ready for it. My favorite bit is when they're like, oh, if it isn't Sir Alana, the woman who rides like a man.
Oh, I forgot. I even bookmarked that whole scene.
Yeah. I used to have to dance with her when she posed as a he, Delia told the tall blonde. I sensed something was not right. Funny, Alana said thoughtfully. As I recall, you chased me. You made a point of flirting with me because the men said I was a woman hater, and you wanted to make me fall in love with you. It's like...
I was like, no.
I'm told you were Jonathan's lover once, Josiane said abruptly. Is that why he made you champion? Well, I'm told you placed me in his affections for a little while. Why didn't he make you prime minister? No one gets the better of me. Did you plan to be king's champion? You don't have the training. So, I really, really enjoyed that scene.
Like, let's go, Josiane.
Yeah. And we're supposed to... Josiane is of the Copper Isles, and they are already putting in that the royalty there are not... Like, it's a lot of inbreeding, and they don't...
They're crazy.
They're not great. We find out why later in the just series but it's just like... It's from being an island nation. From being a colonizer of an island nation.
Yeah, well, fucking...
But,
anyway,
then they get ready for the thingy.
Coronation.
The coronation where Jonathan has to keep, vigil, and he does another ordeal because that man goes through ordeals. He's got the ordeal of knighthood. He's got the ordeal of the voice of the tribe. He's got the ordeal for the king, apparently.
It's like, why do they suffer so much in this country?
Why is there an ordeal for everything? Like, why are we doing this? Yeah. Honestly. Can't we just have regular ceremonies? Or why do we constantly have to prove ourselves like this? Weird, but okay. And then we have, like, a scene of, like, Alex is, like...
cleaning his sword and not going to the coronation because only he knows what Roger really has in store.
Yeah. Delia and Josiane are just being too... Like, they're just doing their own thing. And he's like, okay, well, you're not gonna succeed, and I'm gonna get my sword fight. Because Alex is fucking weird.
Alex is a strange, toxic individual.
So, it's like, okay, buddy. He's always been really weird. But it's like, when you're the squire, and then his squire is also in it, and it's like,
and he's like,
poor child.
Long live King Roger. And I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, and then before Alana gets they're in the coronation... And Alana's supposed to, like, present him with the jewel and everything. But right after they place the crown on Jonathan's head, there are suddenly just a bunch of earthquakes. And Alana goes, Thom is dying. And she just runs, taking the jewel with her. This is where all of the tears start happening.
Yep.
Because Alana gets there. And she sees that Thom is just straight up, like, he is dying in that very moment. And she's like, what happened? And he's like, you can't use your magic. You can't do that because if you use your magic, you'll open it up for Roger to take what's left of yours. Because he stored his magic in me. And that's why he was burning up. It's because he had two people's magic in him. It's not that his magic was corrupted. It's that he had two magics in him. Mm-hmm. And
one of them was booby-trapped.
Yeah, and now Roger is taking all of it. So he's taking Thom's magic and he's taking his own magic back to perform this big thing in the catacombs, right? And then Thom's like, don't use it or you will get leeched. And then he just dies. And then Alana's just sitting there with her, like, dead twin. Before she does that, though, she gave Coram the jewel.
No.
Because he was running with her.
George.
Yeah,
she gave it to George. Because he's like, I'll get it to him, wink.
Yeah. And then he finds
He finds Coram, yeah. And
on the way, yeah.
And he's like, Coram, you can get out of here. And Coram's like, I don't think she'd be okay with me abandoning you. And he's like, do you mean Alana or Rispa? Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. So then they tried to head back towards Jonathan to give that back at the same time that Thom's dying. Mm-hmm. And they get caught by literally Claw and his goons. And George is like, finally, I get to actually beat your fucking ass. And so he, like, just gets one-on-one with Claw and fucking just murders him.
Pretty quickly dispatches of the man because...
And then Liam Ironarm shows back up. And it just saves them again. And then all three of them are like, well, we gotta go take this jewel to Jonathan, because otherwise Alana would kill us. So they all go to that. And so we're brought back to Alana. And then this is the worst thing ever. This scene, I sob. I'm going to cry. I'm gonna cry talking about it. But here's the facts. She's still mourning her dead brother, which... bad enough when you kill a twin. Like, do not kill twins. Like, stop it. Stop.
Hate it.
All of you. But then Master Saicham comes through the door just with one hand. His other hand is just, you know.
Oh, well, you have to remember, first, she was sitting there just, she has no idea how long she's been holding Thom, but Faithful shows up to kick her so that she finally...
and be like, dude, someone's coming.
Yeah.
And then Saicham comes in, and he's like, I'm dying. I'm gonna die. I need you to know everything. So he
Vulcan mind melds her.
Yeah, he Vulcan mind melds her. Mm-hmm. And all of the information he needs, like, where Roger is in the catacombs and stuff like that. Just, all the bits and pieces of, like, don't do this, do that. And then he... then takes all of her magic and his own and sends it to Jonathan.
So that for a moment, she is three people. Alana feels that the consciousness of herself, the consciousness of Saicham, and the consciousness of nope. Good God, that would have been horrible. Jonathan, all at once, which is very Buffy, and I love that.
And then the moment he, like, lets go of her, then an axe comes through the door and just cleaves him in twain. Josie Ann just shows up.
Fucking Lizzie Borden.
Yeah, she just comes in with an axe, and just chops him in half. And then, I'm gonna try to say this as plainly as possible, and try not to cry. But Faithful tries to attack her, as he has shown to do in multiple books, and she kicks him and steps on him as hard as she can, and he breaks. And, you, Tammy.
And so in that moment, luckily Alana's grief is immediately anger, and she kills that bitch outright, no fucking question about it. And she's able to hold Faithful so that she gets two of those she loved dying in her arms in one fucking afternoon. And he says he's going home.
And then he gives her all of, like, his remaining strength so she can make it to
Jonathan. Honestly.
So he just gives all of his magic. And then...
I feel like this is the first, like, book Risa actually cried over as a kid.
I sobbed. Because that was just straight up sobbed. And I did the same thing this afternoon. I just straight up had to take a break from reading because I was sobbing too hard. Yeah. But then after that, Alana's trying to get down to the catacombs, and Alex, Mr. Dickhead, before that, basically, people from Eldorn and Tiragan colors have now taken, like, all the confusion of the earthquakes to then try to kill Jonathan, and they're all like, "Wow, we've been here the whole time."
We're like, who?
And so everyone is, like, forming a ring around Jonathan as he's using the power of, like, everything to stop the earthquakes. Just hold them. And George and Coram and Liam all arrive in order to give him the jewel, and he can start doing all these great magics with that and his crown and bullshit. So then Alana is going down, and Alex is like, hey, time for that fucking swords match.
And it's like, bitch, you act like this is her at her strongest too? Like,
I know.
You don't actually want a fair fight, you little bitch. Sorry.
No, he doesn't. He's just weird. You're fucking weird. Stop making it weird, dude. And then he's like, yes, I'll kill you. And then, like, he, like, knees her in the stomach. Like, dude, you're not even playing fair. Like, that's not even, like, come on, dude. And so she ends up just, like, she just murders him with her bare hands. She shoves his nose up into his brain.
He disarms her and acts like he's already won. And it's like, she's still Alana, man. And so she fucking bloodies the shit out of him, gets her fucking sword, and ends that son of a bitch. And she says, is this how it feels to win, Alex? And then he dies before he can answer. But she feels better anyway.
Yeah.
Which fucking badass.
And then she goes down to the catacombs and sees that there's an Idrim's Gate. Like the thing that the shaman dude in the last book did Ibn Nazir?
That's Ibn Nazir, yeah, that's it.
Ibn Nazir, yeah, I don't know. But he, and she sees, like, the fresh blood and is like, oh, this is how Sai-Chan lost his fucking hand. By touching this. Won't do it. And then Roger's there, like, bitch, this is just how it's gonna be, right? You know, just, I'm here to I will take your magic, so I can finish this. And then she's like, well, joke's on you. Jonathan has my magic. And he's like, oh, okay, so I'll just take Jonathan's magic.
It's like, oh,
and then they have, like,
checkmate. What are you...
Do they have a sword fight, or does he just steal... He just calls to lightning?
He's like, oh, I see you corrupted my blade. And she's like, no, it was warped, motherfucker. I fixed this thing. And then he summons it, and then he ends up just, like... As far as... Could I tell that, like... The force of it coming to him kind of makes him step through? Is that what it is?
No. So what literally happens is that he's trying to call the sword, and Alana's holding it, not letting it go, and then she's like, what is the thing he's least likely to think I'm going to do? That's to stop fighting. So she lets go of the sword, and it spears him in the chest. It just kills him.
It turns him to ash.
Yeah.
And it's
it just goes, It's like, what? So yeah, and then she goes upstairs after killing him and ending it, losing lightning in the process. And then Liam is just fucking dead. Liam is, as if we hadn't lost enough people, Liam is also dead. He took arrows for
8
Jonathan.
fucking arrows to the goddamn chest.
So...
Like a goddamn G.
Everyone has died. That's not true. None of our, like, main cast really died, other than, Thom and Faithful. Just them. But everyone else is okay.
And we learn that it's largely largely due to fucking Rispa and Mistress Cooper. Fucking Mistress Cooper, like, pulls a thread out of her dress and starts doing goddamn thread magic. And
Rispa literally just bound Delia with her petticoat. She ripped her petticoat out and bound that bitch, which must have been good. And literally the only surviving conspirator, by the way.
Yeah. But, like, Fayette also fucking fought them off. So, like, all these women just were like, no, we're not going to be fucking bullied into submission. Fuck you guys. And they fought like crazy.
They sure did.
And I loved them for it.
Yeah. And then it's an epilogue after that.
In which a letter is delivered to Alana from the dragon's teacher, Wildcat. Which is funny. He's taught by Wildcat, and then he falls in love with Lioness, and so it's like, aw. He's got a type. But she brings Alana a letter that Liam wrote not long before his death. Because remember how he had his future told to him by those
the Doi.
those Doi. That's it. Doi. Yeah. He knew that he was told that he would know when the god of death was calling for him. And he'd started feeling it already. When they came to Tortall, he was like, oh, this is when it's going to happen. I'm going to write her a letter. And it is a really good letter because it makes me feel a little bit better about his character and less, because I think that's probably what does it. Because he's such an asshole so much of the time, and then we get the letter, and it's like, oh, and he's very like, nothing you could do. My fate was set in stone. I'm glad to go out this way. Hey, when you're working out, I need to remind you of these things you need to do.
Do it on your left, even though it tires you. So yeah, she went to the desert basically after, like, I'm going to take a grieving period. Yeah, and she goes out to the Bloody Hawk, and she's there, and that's where the Wildcat finds her, and also Fayette comes to see her.
Yay!
And is just kind of like beating around the bush, and Alana's like, it's okay if you marry Jonathan. I want you to. I'm matchmaking. He doesn't actually want me, I promise.
Fucking, okay, wait. Hold on. Because it's like, yeah, she's so upset. And she's like, oh, and everyone thinks that you should have been with John. And Alana's like, everyone? I think someone doesn't think that at all, or he wouldn't have spent so much time with you. Fayette whispered, if I hadn't come to Tortall, Alana drew a design in the sand. Nonsense. I wanted you to be safe. We all did. And I knew you'd make a better queen than I would. What? Yelled the princess. Jonathan needs someone who will treat him like a person, not just a king. And then we get down to, she bursts into tears and she's wailing, and Fayette's going, but you're my friend. I can't steal your man. And I'm like, precious baby. And then we get brought back around to, because one of my favorite moments earlier with Fayette and Alana, she comes in after the dress freak out of Liam's, and she wipes her face and she's comforting her in that lovely girl way, and she's like, you and I are not very pretty criers. Yeah. and so then she's just sobbing, and she's like, I'm sure I look horrible right now. She's like, don't fish for compliments. It's not becoming.
Yeah.
And then the last bit that happens is Alana's like, hey, George, I'll have your babies.
Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. So Fayette and Buri leave. George shows up somewhere before midwinter, and Alana's like, so, are you still interested? And he's like, yes.
I never stopped being interested. What? Is it, what? Yes. Why? What did John tell you? But that was just casual. Like, unless you'd be into doing it with us. See some interesting foursomes in this future.
Yeah, and then she's like, yes, what did she say? It's, I want you, he's like, and would you be wanting to have my children too? Like, let's make sure we're in agreement here before we do anything. And she's like, well, I want you to myself for a year or two first.
But then we'll have as many babies as you want.
And they sure do. They sure
do
have a lot of babies.
They do. I mean, not like, they don't have as many as Rispa and Cora.
I mean, no. But no one... But not everyone is Rispa.
But my favorite is, so I finally tamed myself a lioness, he whispered when they broke their kiss. Alana laughed. I wouldn't call it tamed, laddie me love. The lady of pirate's swoop shouldn't be tame. Particularly not when she's king's champion to boot. Basically, yeah. And then it ends with, come my beloved, my lioness, we'll tell your tribe we're betrothed.
I know, it's cute.
Okay, so as we get on to, because we're going to have play. Okay, so one of my favorite parts of this book that surprised me because I didn't remember it. Well, other than, I'll be real, definitely forgot who fucking Claw was for a majority of the time. I completely forgot. And I was like, oh my god,
fantastic.
duh.
That's fantastic.
But a part that I also forgot, well, he was such a fucking, like, nobody to my brain. I was just like, whatever, you don't do anything. You're just in the shadows. I like my villains present. But the part where we find out how Coram has been communing with the voice.
Yeah.
Just how much he gave himself over to the tribe and, like, allowed himself to be at one with them, and it's just so lovely the way he talks about it with such sweet reverence.
And and he stopped doing it when they got further away because it just felt lonely without without his people. I was like, oh
yeah. But I want to read some of the afterword to Lioness Rampant, written by Tamara Pierce, August 2014. So this is some 25 years later. And so we come to the grand finale of Song of the Lioness. Alana's tale has taken a sharp midway turn from the original story, beginning with the woman who rides like a man. Originally, I had conceived a traditional fairy tale ending. Yes, me, so shocking now to think of it. And I had forced it through my first and second drafts without really stopping to consider why the last third of my book was wooden and awkward. Then I began Woman Who Rides Like a Man, which contained part of that final third, and felt the story grind to a halt. That was when I realized that Alana was telling me she did not want my fairy tale ending, that she questioned my wisdom in thinking she would desire anything of the kind, and that if I did not change Woman and Lioness to reflect her choices, she would guarantee that both books would stink. And I love it. and that's really the main part that I want, but like, I do love, actually, just because it just caught my attention, I want to read another part. I have also been criticized by people who call Alana a bed hopper. She sleeps with 3 men in her lifetime. This is bed hopping. I wrote the book during the 70s, and sexual mores were very different then. We didn't have AIDS, and for the most part, antibiotics took care of the common sexually transmitted diseases. So it's just like, bitch, don't even talk to me. But I loved finding that afterward because it was just when I glanced back at the book last night while Boyfriend Meister was cooking, and because I'd been talking to him because I got real talky about the book, and I was like, because I was stoned, and I was like, I feel like she suddenly realized, like, at the very end of the previous book, what she wanted to do for this book, and she suddenly, like, turned it around. She suddenly found her voice, and then to, like, open up the back of the book and, like, have everything that I was thinking confirmed. I'm like, good on you, Tammy P, for being a very, like, open writer.
Yeah. It's good.
Because, yeah, I love it. Anyway, what's your favorite part?
My favorite part, I like the fact that she basically just tells Tortall, she's like, you know what? This is stupid. I don't want to kill you. Like, that's my favorite bit, is that she's just like, I don't want to do this. This is ridiculous. Just fucking keep the thing. I don't understand. Like, I can't be, like, some hero if I'm just stealing something from someone and killing them.
And I love that harkens back to her ordeal. Where the only way she would get through each of those phases was when she gave herself over and just went, hey, fuck it. I'm not fighting anymore. Yeah. And there's nothing I can do. Fuck it. If things happen, they happen. And it's like, fuck, never mind. I'm not fighting you. This is stupid. It's yours. Keep it. This is dumb. What am I doing here?
And then he's like, you know what? No, that means you deserve it. You're a cute little mortal.
You plucky little humans. She's like, are you God? He's like, nah, bitch. Gods ain't got nothing on me.
Yeah.
I'm a mountain.
So to me, he's like the original Luvo.
Yes, exactly. This is exactly what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, he's just mean Luvo. Not mean, but you know.
Yeah, but pretty much, like, Luvo's very considerate. I cannot wait until we get to talk about Luvo. That's in so long, Ariana. That's in more than a year we'll be talking about that.
I know. But hey, honestly, my favorite part is that we now get to go into the Dane books.
Ooh, yes. I am incredibly excited to get into
I am a
the Immortals
huge
Quartet.
fan of the Immortals Quartet. That being said, I loved reading this book.
This book was it was so much better.
It was worlds apart from the last three. You okay, sister?
Yeah.
Okay.
My shoulder just is very painful now, and it made a bad noise. So I wasn't doing anything. But definitely excited for the Immortals because I like so many of those characters a lot. And
those of you who have never read these series before and you're reading these with us for the first time, first of all, cool. I hope that we're not confusing matters by talking nonsense. But also, never fear. You think that because this quartet is over, we don't see the Lioness or George or Jonathan or Burry. Yeah, like I was like, oh yeah, this is where Burry comes in, isn't it? And we see all of these people again. Like, everybody pops back up.
Yeah, we never get rid of...
She does not forget her first characters.
I enjoy it. I do. So, don't worry. You'll see Alana in literally the next book.
Yes.
And yeah, so that'll be fun. For the Immortals series, my biggest, content warning going into it is there is a very large age gap relationship. Even a larger age gap than, the ones...
Technically, the same as...
Yeah. Okay, some people's ages were retconned, so we'll talk about that when we get to it, but... Definitely, The Immortals is fantastic. I can't wait to talk about it. What was your favorite headcanon for this?
I thought I made that clear. My favorite headcanon is John and George. Yeah. Then while we're at it, also, Thea and Alana just, being each other's wife. I feel like it's on a soul level. That's where they are. And that's how I'm going to continue to look at the quartet's fucking relationship. Because I know they have a bunch more scenes together, I remember. So it's like, they get together and have foursomes.
They sure
What's
do.
yours?
Or they swing.
They could swing. I could feel that as well.
You know.
You just got a nice polyamorous relationship going on.
They do. Good for them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, that's this show.
Yeah.
We said things.
We did.
We'll read another book next time, which is literally called Wild Magic.
Yay!
So, very exciting. See you guys then. I think that's really all we say for an outro, other than I'm Risa.
I'm Ariana. Keep on reading, is that what we say?
Yeah.
Keep on reading.